If you're thinking about buying a home in El Paso, Texas, this is the video for you. We're gonna be talking about the 10 red flags we're searching for homes. This is gonna be part 1. We're gonna start with the first 5 red flags.
Absolutely. Definitely check out part 2 because all of these are important. Number 1, this one is really important, a weird floor plan or a bizarre layout. Now, this isn't so much a problem with new homes because new builders, they know what buyers want, right? We've pretty much figured it out. Most buyers want an open floor plan and they want, contained bedrooms, however they're positioned, that of course can change. But with resale homes, we get some weird things. Sometimes what has happened is people have done remodel jobs, a lot of them are DIY remodels, and you end up with some really bizarre layouts. For instance, there's something that's called a pass-through bedroom. This is where maybe somebody decided they had a 3-bed house and they wanted to add a 4th bedroom and they stuck up a wall somewhere to make a 4th bedroom. But a pass-through bedroom is basically where you literally have to walk through a bedroom to get into a deeper part of the house. We've seen these when we've showed houses and they always are bizarre and weird, right? What does that mean for whoever's living in that bedroom? Zero privacy. It's also possible that it affects kind of the home might not actually be able to be listed as a 4-bedroom. Maybe there isn't a closet or something like that. It's just a weird choice. Layout is super important. The functionality of the floor plan is super, super important. So you want to make sure that you find a layout that works for you.
Now the red flag number 2 is going to be the age of big ticket items. What do I mean? It's going to be the roof. The roof has its own red flag. It's going to be point number 4. But the roof, things like the HVAC, the water heater. Now here in El Paso, obviously the heat, it's going to definitely change the lifespan of these items. Let's say for an HVAC system, it's going to be between 10 to 15 years. With general maintenance, you can do 15 to 20. That's going to be
great maintenance.
With great maintenance, yeah. Mine lasted for 18, and then it just completely broke. Now the water heater is going to be 8 to 12. Now remember, here in El Paso, the water is basically loaded with calcium and magnesium, which basically settles at the bottom of the tank. That causes overheating of the bottom of the tank. It can create more strain on the heating element. It reduces efficiency, and obviously it creates corrosion over time. So definitely you have to check out for these items because especially here in El Paso, those things can definitely shorten the lifespan of those specific things.
Absolutely. And oftentimes sellers will be able to tell you how old those items are to give you a good idea. And at the same time, where it would be ideal if you got a house with a new HVAC and a new hot water heater, if you're buying a resale home, honestly, you don't have a ton of control of that, but it's something you should just keep in mind because it's probably going to affect those maintenance costs for you maybe down the road.
Definitely.
All right, this one is also, well, it's a little bit different. Number 3 has to do with the type of AC unit that you have in your home. In El Paso, drier climates, there are 2 different types of AC units that you can have. Most of you, if you're from another part of the country, are used to what we call central air. That's what we call refrigerated air. That's the newer type of air conditioning that most newer homes are definitely going to have. However, here in El Paso, older homes have what are called evaporative coolers or swamp coolers. And essentially, they work by evaporating water, and then that coolness gets blown into the home. But there are some problems with these evaporative coolers. So they're not really great for larger square footage homes, and buyers who are coming from humid climates, they're not going to understand the limitations. So let me kind of tell you the limitations on these things. Swamp coolers really only work in dry climates because whenever humidity rises, like in the monsoon season, which is in the summer here, they lose most of their cooling power. The summer is the exact time when you need them to do their most cooling, and so they're not doing you any favor in the summer because they can't cool down the home, and they don't cool nearly as much as that refrigerated air or that central air. They might be able to cool a home maybe 10 to 15 degrees below outside temps, but if it's 105 out and you can only cool your house down to like 90, 85, it's not going to be great. Another thing is that they also require more maintenance. They need to be winterized, and unfortunately, we see this all the time in homes with them. They have the tendency, since they're evaporating water, a lot of the water, they're always on the roof, and so a lot of the water is going down the pitched roof, and they inevitably leak. So you got to watch out. Is a resale home you're looking at, does it have an evaporative cooler, or does it have a refrigerated AC? That's going to make a big difference.
Definitely. Now the red flag number 4 is going to be the roof type, and then sun exposure. Like we talk about, El Paso is gonna change the lifespan of a lot of your big ticket items, especially the roof. Now here in El Paso, mainly people are gonna have flat roofs, tile, and shingle. Now we're gonna give you an example about the flat roof, which is a pretty popular one. Typically, if you do good maintenance on the flat roof, it can last you 20 to 25 years. Now, if you don't do good maintenance on the roof,
which most people don't.
Most people don't, honestly, yeah, because you'll be surprised when you do inspections, just the yearly maintenance, let's say, it doesn't get done more often. 10 to 15 years if you don't take care of your roof, I will say. Now, there's many different things that, for specific, a flat roof can start failing when the drains clog, when ponding water sits for days on the roof, even though it doesn't rain a lot, but when it does, if you let it sit in there, that's gonna be a problem. The seams are gonna be split. Also, coating isn't reapplied. This is, I think, one of the main things that people miss that they don't do.
That's the maintenance.
That's the big maintenance that people, that they just miss. They don't think it's important, but it really changes the lifespan of your roof. Very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to piggyback on the roof one, because we get that question all the time from people that are relocating here, because most people are used to pitched roofs and a shingle roof, and those are going to do just fine here. Those are going to do probably better here than in other places, because we don't get a lot of rain and a lot of wind, things like that. The only thing we really get is sun, but shingles can handle sun. Tile roofs can handle sun, no problem. But since a lot of our homes here are that modern style, flat roofs, and that's what everybody is freaked out about. And a flat roof is simply like a rolled membrane, and then you have to coat it with a sealant so that it's waterproof. And sometimes there are seams, so it might be a roll, and you have to make sure those seams, once the sun hits them and they start to open up, if you don't recoat they say like 3 years or so, water's going to get in there and it's going to be a problem. So if you take care of it, just like your HVAC and these other big ticket items, it's going to last a while. But honestly, for most people, it's out of sight, out of mind, and we see it all the time. Flat roofs, typically, like I said, they function just fine, but that's why that home inspection is going to come in really, really handy. Okay. All right. Number 5 should seem obvious, but let's say it anyway. When you're searching for homes, a big red flag is if the home is overpriced, okay, or even underpriced. The trick here is that most of you aren't real estate agents and you don't have the tools to really know, hey, is the home overpriced or underpriced? That's why, of course, you need a great real estate agent who's going to do a comparative market analysis, look at the data, and make sure that you're not paying too much for a home. That's the worst case scenario, right? Nobody wants to overpay. If a home is underpriced, that suggests what? Probably there might be some issues with that home. So it's just maybe a red flag, and it's a red flag that you're willing to eat because you're going to get a home for a better price. But again, it's going to be really important to really investigate the aspects of the home that matter to make sure that you're not buying, a lemon, so to speak. So those are the first 5. We've got 5 more that are, quite honestly, I think equally as important, but we're going to get to those in the next episode. Thanks so much for watching.